Geisel drops back, looking to pass, steps up, pressure coming, and he gets it to Dance in the end zone. Touchdown! Dance scores a touchdown with 11 seconds left to go. Bulldogs take the lead.
Talk about ice water in your veins.
Restaurant, Bar, and Grill. Thank you so much for being such a gracious and congenial host. Coach, let's get this thing started. And I'll start by saying I've always heard about the 3 F's in football. Faith, family, football. And tonight's guests really embody those 3, right?
And again, when I got here just almost 10 years ago, he may not really know this, but I've always been very appreciative of him and Susie and the Kirschner family. They have just, anytime you see them out and about, just great, almost as if they've known you all your life. But no, just someone that, again, great family, great kids, great grandkids, and as we would say, is just a cornerstone of this community and for generations. And so just honored to really have him come in and talk football, but also talk about family and just in general, kind of the legacy that he and his family have left in this area.
Well, with that, we welcome to the program Arnie Kirschner.
Thank you, Judge. Okay. Glad to be here. Glad to answer any questions you got and kind of discuss what I've done and where I've been.
Well, I think the first thing, Arnie, I'm just curious, as someone that obviously not from this area, but I've always been curious of going back into history, so I'm not going to throw any years out there, but if we go back, first question would be is going back to when you were in high school and those playing times, is maybe talk about what that was, what that looked like, and teammates, coaches, all that.
Okay, I graduated in 1967, and my freshman year I did not play football. I had appendicitis and wasn't able to play any sports. And so my sophomore year, the coach was Bud Spence, and Bud talked to my parents about playing and convinced them that I ought to play. Well, 2 days later, he took another job, and so he left Batesville, and Coach Dunker took over, and so we started football in 1965. Our team was fairly competitive and pretty well. We won about half our games, I would say. But of course, back then, they weren't South Dearborn, they were Aurora. Franklin County was Brookville, and East Central was North Dearborn. So we played a lot of the same teams, but they were not called the same when we played.
So we go back, and when I think of you, say you kind of get reached out, get recruited to play. You go out, so your sophomore year is your first year ever playing football. So I'd have to be curious, what was the first week, the first couple of weeks of practice like, and do you remember?
Coach Dunker, if you knew Coach Dunker, he was a little different. And the first practice, he turned on the water and had me catch balls in the water in case it was going to rain. So that was my first practice, playing in the rain.
So that begs the question, when your grandkids today are complaining about a hard day at practice, do you just tell them to shut up and get back out there?
Exactly. And I can remember our coach, he was pretty rough. And by my senior year, I was the captain. And I remember one practice, the kid didn't do something, and coach told him, well, if you can't play any harder, why don't you just leave? So the kid hopped up and ran off. So coach came over to me and said, go get him. I said, no, I'm not gonna go get him.
So when you guys, I'm just curious because talking about the comparing and contrasting probably nowadays until when you played those first your first practice, did you have the two-a-days?
Yes.
And so have you shared any of these stories to the grandkids on how much easier and lighter they have it compared to what you had it when you were playing?
No, we had it. It was pretty rough, but it wasn't too bad. I didn't really worry about it. One thing I know, they and all the teams lift weights extensively, and when I played, we had one barbell, and the garage right next to the old football field, there was a pickup in there, and we had to move the pickup to get the barbell out to lift weights.
Yeah, and again, so I'm going to ask you, any other, if you compare and contrast kind of when you played to maybe what you've seen through the time that your kids, I know mainly your grandkids here recently, maybe the game itself, what you've maybe seen, or maybe some of the similarities, but also maybe some differences.
Well, I think the biggest difference is passing. Back then, you would have two tight ends all the time, and the coach's favorite pass was a jump pass to me. It's a lot more sophisticated, obviously.
No, I have to ask, is the jump past the quarterback, and then
he would just jump up, and I would run straight out, and he'd drop it to me.
And here I thought Tim Tebow invented the jump pass. Wow.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, go back to your time, and even as we talk, you go on to Butler, correct?
Correct.
And so, tight end was the position?
Yes, I played tight end. It was kind of funny because Coach Hinkle was the coach who they now named the field house after. And he came down for our sports banquet as a guest speaker. And he came down, and I won the most valuable player in football, in basketball, baseball. And he thought, this kid might be pretty good.
So did you, going back, you bring up basketball, was basketball kind of the sport, or baseball, like kind of when you were growing up? I mean,
I would say baseball when I was a little kid, and then basketball mostly after that. And I enjoyed basketball a lot. And football, when I went to Butler, he told me to get a full ride. I had to play football, but I could play baseball or basketball. And I did play my freshman year. And then after football practice was over, I went to the first practice and got a high ankle sprain and was on crutches for 2 weeks or 4 weeks. And that ended my basketball career.
So when you say Butler, it automatically brings basketball to mind. I mean, nowadays Butler's considered a basketball school. So are you telling me then Butler was a football school?
No.
Okay.
No. Butler, when I played, they would have kind of a division right under the major division, and you could have scholarships, and we would play teams like like Western Kentucky, Akron, Ball State, Indiana State. So we played some pretty good teams, but they weren't major teams at that time.
so before we continue on into the college, I gotta go back. You were a South All-Star. I walk by the hall every day, and I see your South All-Star picture up on the wall. I've got to ask you, what is up with the gray jersey? Or not the gray, sorry, the yellow jersey. You see all these white, red, and blue ones. I see the yellow jersey. You have to tell me.
In the All-Star game, it was the first All-Star game for Indiana. And I was on the South squad, and that was our uniforms. It was kind of crazy because we had a picture out of the annual, and for some reason back then they couldn't duplicate it to make a large picture, so they had me put on some Batesville pants, some football or shoes that they had to cut the end out of it because my feet were too big, and I wore my yellow with my tinted glasses.
Yeah.
That didn't look too good. I was 23 or 24.
I've always wondered, and again, I was like, man, he looks a lot older. Like, I mean, maybe that's why he dominated, but, you know, and I was curious because it always was, it's one that, you know, it's a great accomplishment. Obviously, you're one of the first ones I see right there on the wall, and I walk by it every day, but it always looks a little different, but, you know, I knew there had to be a little bit of a story to that. So, you talked a little bit about college, you go through, you play, all that. So, kind of, you want to, as we finish up with college, kind of, as you lived in Batesville pretty much all your life, and you want to talk a little about the family, kind of there?
Yeah, basically, I grew up in Oldenburg, and of course went to Batesville to high school, and went on to Butler, and I lived up there for a short time after I got out of school. Then I got an offer for a job back here, and so I moved back here, and then we got married about a year later, and we've been here ever since. I have had an insurance agency in H&R Block, and I've since passed it on to Wendy and Luke, and now I still go in and try to do a few more jobs.
Good. Make sure everything's still going with flow, right? Keep them in line, right? Keep them in line. Nothing's changed. Because I know how Wendy can be. She can be the crazy, no, and it's all good. So, like, as you kind of came back and you kind of got, you know, rooted back in the area. I mean, I guess going back through it, and you've had two grandsons. You know, they're getting ready to graduate. You've kind of gone through the process, but maybe what has it been like? You know, kind of the role you feel like you've played, or, you know, with them as they've kind of gone through their own journeys.
Yeah, after I kind of picked up what your system did, I could pretty much predict what was going to happen, and so I could pretty well tell what they were going to do and what they should be doing and so forth, and it made it easier for me. I'm obviously been in football, so I know a lot of what's going on, and my wife just enjoyed doing it, but she didn't understand all the time what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, we look at, you talked about tight end, it made me think, what was your thoughts at some point this past year when you saw Camden and John both at some point playing tight end? Was that kind of something you're like, what the heck is coach thinking, or what are we doing? Or, I mean, as a tight end guy yourself, what did you think when you saw that?
Well, John, I thought he did fine, but he's actually a guard, and we know he's a guard, and that's what he prepared himself for. And Camden is the same way. He could play tight end. That wasn't a problem, but again, he's with his build, he's a tackle. So, Cade, if he would have played when I did, he probably would have been a tight end.
Yeah. No, it is funny. I know that, when we had the start of the year, I remember sitting in the office, and Coach Bellman, the offensive line coach, comes up to me and he says, says, "Hey, what's your thoughts on Camden playing tight end?" And I'm like, "To catch the ball?" And he's like, "Not to block." So, okay, well, I think it makes a lot of sense now. And I mean, and John, we know, he's got bigger and stronger and all that stuff, and obviously could move around. He actually moved pretty well for his size now, but he was usually early on kind of had been able to play those positions. But no, it made me think of that, when you set the tight end and on that. So I guess, I mean, is there, as we kind of start wrapping up a little bit with this part, it's like, of the two, I'm sure you got plenty of stories about Camden, I can only imagine, but, with Kate and John, both, kind of wrapping up, do you have a story that you'd like to share, something that kind of sticks out with those two that you would love to share?
Especially if they don't want you to share it. Those are the ones that we really like.
And we won't necessarily reciprocate that question.
No, basically, when they were growing up, they were pretty much together all the time. So they would go swimming and they would, play ball and do everything together. So they were kind of like brothers, more than cousins, I think. But they got into a little mischief at the pool all the time. And other than that, they were pretty good.
I do want to ask this question, though. I think about it from time to time, and maybe more so this year with your seniors graduating. I see you guys at the games, basketball, football, the whole family, not one or two. You guys are there. It is very clear that Batesville athletics is an important part, plays an important part in your family dynamic. In your words, though, how would you describe what Batesville athletics has meant to your family?
Well, I think it is very important to us. Susie kept track of how many events we went to in 2024, and it was 277 games. So it's very important to us. We enjoy just seeing them out there and seeing them enjoy themselves and being successful. And I know growing up and playing athletics, how much athletics means to Batesville. So, for them to play, and people come up to me all the time and say, "Yeah, I saw Kate did this, or Camden did that, or John did that." So it's a lot of fun.
All right, with that, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more Beyond the Hashes right after this.
Bruins Guts Willer is the right choice for your next construction project. We strive to deliver unparalleled service to our clients by focusing on craftsmanship and quality. Our core values of integrity, professionalism, and fair pricing all but ensures our clients receive the best possible experience. Whether it's commercial construction, remodeling an existing space, or even building a luxurious home, we offer a comprehensive suite of construction management services. So before you break ground, give us a call at 812-934-2105. Bruins Guts Willer, building a better future for southeastern Indiana for over 100 years.
Leon, one of the things that I like most about working and living in Batesville, it's the community. Batesville has a little something for everyone, and FCN Bank is the exact same way. Whether it's my personal or business needs, FCN offered me an array of banking products and services that would fit my every banking need. Don't take my word for it. You should check it out yourself at www.fcnbank.com. FCN Bank, building stronger communities. Member FDIC.
Let's run it back. More from Beyond the Hashes.
And we are back with more Beyond the Hashes with Coach Evan Ulery. Coach, this crew has changed a little bit. Got a little bigger, a little taller, a little faster.
I think the 5 of us could maybe go block some people.
I think the 4 of you could go block some people.
Give yourself some credit. It's great to see all 3 of these guys up here. Honestly, we got, I think one of the first things, and one thing that we'll talk, we've got to give Kevin a chance to talk here, so if he really gives me a mic.
Maybe.
Is, Kevin, what was it like? This is your first year, right? That you got to actually play on the same team with these 2 guys. Maybe you want to speak a little on kind of sort of those emotions, those feelings, and those thoughts.
Yeah, going into the first game, hearing that Cade was out, that put a bit of weight. But getting to play with John, that was really cool. Like when we were playing in the sectionals and stuff, like knowing it could be his end, he pushed a little hard. But it was fun.
Yeah. So Cade, John, you guys have played, gone a long way, right? So I guess you want to maybe go back and talk about, but maybe think about some of those memories, not necessarily just in high school, but you want to share like some of those memories you guys shared, football and just in general.
Well, we have plenty of memories off the field, but me and John were talking about this before when our grandpa was asked that question. But no, on the field, I've always played with John, and we've always had a pretty successful team growing up. Not something everybody can say. And just winning the Super Bowls and the Pee Wee leagues, those were always some of the best memories, I think.
Yeah, one with football, just kind of randomly thought about. It was like a picture I saw one time. It's just, I was going to tackle someone, Cade behind me, just like pushing me in the back,
Telling you to pushing you in the back to help with the tackle, or
I think so.
Because I was gonna say you're a lot bigger. But has that always been the case though? Or
I really wasn't too big until high school.
You found the weight room and did a good job with that, right? Now, so you talk about the Super Bowls and all that stuff, the youth experience. I remember it's kind of crazy to think. I think my first year here, you guys were 4th graders. You've still been here, but I think was that one of you won Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, that was probably our best year for youth sports, I think.
Yeah, I think I remember that game going down as a South Dearborn, and in high school you guys played Franklin County, and the excitement. Do you guys have a parade and all that stuff after?
Oh yeah, we had the whole chance, the whole thing.
Yeah, no. So we go into high school, go through like maybe what were some of those things that you look back, that you guys shared that were some memories that you had.
We go on not football. There was one time me and Cade were at my house, and we thought it'd be good to like put on a bunch of winter gloves and like puppy ones on and everything. We thought it'd be good to box. It was alright for a little bit, but he got me one time good in the head, and it was over.
Yeah, we always had some bright ideas. But no, going into high school is definitely different. For the first couple of years, I guess, I got the opportunity to play on varsity the freshman year, so I didn't really play with any of our guys that we grew up playing with. But once we got into that junior year, we were clicking good with that grade above us in our grade, and we really we played well that year.
I'm gonna go back. You shared the story. Who officiated? Or was this just
it was free for all.
whoever first to drop?
I don't know how we were going to go about it, but it kind of just, I don't know who thought about it.
Was it your mom that thought about this?
No, I think we're left unsupervised for a little bit too long or something.
And by too long, you mean like 4 minutes?
Probably.
I want to go back to your granddad. Now tell me right off the top, is it granddad, grandpa, pop? What do you guys call it? Pat-paw. Okay. Anybody can answer this question. Obviously, you guys are all outstanding athletes, but there had to have been one game where you just didn't play up to par to Pawpaw's standard. I need to know about the ride home, or when everyone got back to the house and Pawpaw was leaning into you about your play on the field or court.
Well, I really got one. One day it was travel baseball, and we get to the field, and I'm like, I got my slides on. I'm like, Apple, I don't got my cleats with me. So funny enough, I had to play with his tennis shoes during the game. And I don't think I played a very good game at the plate. And on the ride home, we were just like, well, there's always tomorrow.
Now, were your feet bigger than his, or were they bigger than yours? I mean, he was telling the story, getting to like cut off the cleats, cut off with the picture of the South All-Star or something. And you're sliding around on, were they too tight? What was going on?
No, we were both, I think we were around size 13, so it worked. They definitely weren't baseball shoes. I'll tell you that.
So you learned your lesson.
Yeah.
Camden?
I'd say in football, I really never got the talking to after a game, but in basketball on dirt road one day, man, it was not a very good performance by me, and I heard about it. Missed a couple free throws, and then I didn't get very many rebounds. Didn't live up to the standards, I guess.
Now, we're talking about rides, and I saw Grandma House, what do you call them?
Nana.
Yeah, so you saw that. Saw her out. It was probably about a month ago, and I want to go back to Camden. She mentioned that you were chauffeuring or driving down to Cincinnati. Was there a time where you kind of, you know what story I'm talking about? Was there a...
Was it your birthday?
Yeah, it might have been on my birthday.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, what was going, I mean, you just were willing to drive and take, you know?
Yeah, I think I got my permit like 3 days before that. You know, I was kind of just ready to drive, and I was like, I guess I could drive. So I hopped in and drove to Coleraine.
Must have been slim pickings for drivers that day.
Yeah.
I just, it made me when she told me, I was like, that just embodies your personality. You're no fear, just give me the keys, let me go. Let's, you know, you've been down to wherever, Coleraine, wherever, like many times. Driving, you're only 15. What else could happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, got there and back. We're still here, but.
I'd be curious to know what the family thought of your driving skills, but we'll leave that for another day. But overall, I guess as you guys, Kate and John, are kind of at the end of this whole road, any advice you would give as Cam sits here and you got Nolan Clayton coming up here in a couple of years, like something that you feel like you've learned, or maybe something you kind of shared with them, as they're kind of getting closer as they embark in their high school careers.
Well, I mean, I think coming into where we left, I think the program has changed a lot, and I think they just need to keep progressing the right way, not taking steps back, because coming in, we didn't have those big sectional wins in a long time, and then I think we kind of changed that in the weight room and just overall aggression playing football. So I think they got to keep that up.
Yeah, I would say probably weight room's like really big, but I know they really care about it, because I think freshman year was when I didn't say I probably didn't try as hard as I should have. So it's probably just try as hard as you can and work hard.
And you always hear, and you guys can kind of know you're kind of part of that group that kind of says, and we've had plenty of times you've heard a lot of adults say, like, man, it goes fast, right? I can remember both of you guys when you were freshmen coming in, and we had the wild idea to put you at one as a freshman, and here we are, boom, and it blinks, and you guys are moving on into college. I mean, you want to share, both to get an opportunity, like, what is kind of the future for what you kind of like, what you're thinking as of now? A lot can change, but what are you kind of thinking post high school?
Well, right now I'm trying to be like, get a couple CNC like programming and stuff like that, which I was enrolled there at Lincoln Tech, but they got rid of the program, so now I'm looking for another place.
And I'm still trying to find a home for college to possibly continue my football career and eventually run and do Southeastern Insurance and H&R Block.
Good deal. Well, I appreciate it, guys.
All right, show your love to the high schoolers in this bunch. And we'll be back with more Beyond the Hashes right after this.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Great show, Coach.
Hey, before you go, I got tickets for the game this weekend.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow, man.
Oh, man. I can't go, man. Family's out of town. I got to watch the dog.
What? Well, call April Meyer over at Daisy's Doggy Daycare.
What?
Yeah, Daisy's Doggy Daycare, man.
Hold on a second. Let me Google that. Oh, Daisy's Doggy Daycare. She's got her own website. Matter of fact, here's the phone number. I'm going to call them at 812-932-7877. Why do you like it so much?
Oh, man, she is awesome. She's personable. She's going to take care of you, communicate with you while your dog's there. She's even got a YouTube channel, and you can check out the dog.
That's legit. But what if they're closed up here in Batesville?
Hey, she's got one in Greensburg, too, man.
Oh, snap. All right, let's make it happen. Daisy's Doggy Daycare in Batesville and Greensburg.
It's tax season, and your neighborhood H&R Block is here to get your taxes squared away. Just walk in or make an appointment and get 100% accuracy and your max refund or your money back. So file with confidence, knowing you have expert local help when and where you need it. All year long at H&R Block. All tax situations are different. Not everyone gets a refund. Limitations apply. See hrblock.com/guarantees.
Call 812-934-4626 to speak with a tax professional.
Let's run it back. More from Beyond the Hashes.
Beyond the Hashes continues live from Shift Restaurant, Bar, and Grill. As always, be sure to tip your waitresses and bartenders. Now, Coach, we bring up the younger generation of this family, and they're not getting smaller.
No, they're not. They're already, both these guys are about as big as I am already, so Cam's been bigger than me for a while. So Cam, we talked, John, Kay, two guys you kind of had to kind of look up to most of your time, and now you got two guys beside you. Now you are not only physically the big K, but you are the guy that they kind of looked up to. So what kind of that dynamic, maybe what's that relationship like? As you're gonna have a year here without these guys, but then they're gonna be here on the back end. So we kind of talk about that relationship and the dynamics with these two compared to the other.
Yeah, it's definitely been weird, like with a year off and no family, but I mean, you just gotta kind of try to lead these two, like Cade and John led me in my high school career.
So I mean, the question I would have is, what's the relation? You got brother here. What's this relationship been like? I mean, is it pretty lovey-dovey like I saw here? I mean, you're shaking your head now, so you got to tell me what's he really like?
I would say he's not the most friendly to me. Always get him some tussles here, but sometimes it can be nice. It's a love-hate relationship, I would say.
He does have his problems, right?
Yeah.
Nolan, do you have to deal with him much, or is he?
No, not too much.
I'm sure your sisters would kick the crap out of him, so you probably you got that buffer, right? Okay. So I want to give you guys a chance here, Clayton and Nolan, to brag about your guys' undefeated season, right? I'm pretty sure that I don't think these guys have had the undefeated in the middle school. They haven't had it in youth, but we're not counting you. Let's talk about the undefeated season and give you an opportunity here to brag about your guys' record, your season.
It was a fun time. The team just bonded. I don't really know what to say. I mean, it was just a fun time.
Yeah, I didn't really expect to be undefeated as it was my first year, and I just having a lot of fun.
So we'll go back to, what was maybe a memorable game or experience that you guys can recall from this past season?
I would say the first game, we haven't played EC in a while because we weren't in the same thing in youth. And we were really ready for that game, and it was a close game for the first half, and then we ended up pulling away with it. And that was a fun game. It was the first game.
Yeah, it's always an interesting game to play East the first week, and obviously they themselves, a lot of times even in youth, it's the first time they get to kind of combine it, with you guys being in seventh grade. So, did you know any other games that you kind of think of or a memorable experience? Those were your first year playing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say the first game with EC because I didn't know what to expect for the first game. I didn't know if we were going to get blown out or stick with them.
Now, what was it like now having your cousin playing?
It over the summer, I was just trying to get him to play. He played soccer most of the time, and then I was like, no, you gotta come out and play. It was fun, just him molding into the team and playing well.
Was he that nice about it, or he kind of pushed your arm a little bit?
A little. Most of the time, he's just trying to get me to like it the whole summer, just keep on bringing it up.
Now, I'm going to go, Nolan asked you, like, what positions did you play? And kind of what was overall, was it what you expected?
I played tight end on offense, and on defense I didn't really play too much, but I had played defensive end and I played linebacker.
So we just got this line of tight ends. It all starts with you go back to Arnie, right? The line of tight ends, almost everybody's played tight end in this game. Okay?
I played linebacker at the start of the year. They had me at guard, and then they started moving it around. I played back at fullback, running back, and then they moved me to tight end. It was whatever was going to work.
You just kind of all right. So, I mean, as you guys move in, move into your 8th grade year, I mean, kind of what do you feel like is the pulse, and kind of your outlook and expectation as you're moving forward?
I would say I have the same expectations, go undefeated, keep on working hard, and keep on pushing.
Yeah, I would mostly just say the same thing as Clayton. Work hard, just try your best, don't give up.
So you guys represent the youngest active generation of athletes in this family, is that right? Anybody coming behind you? I mean, I know later on, but I mean right now. You guys are it. So do you feel any amount of pressure? I mean, because I'm sure Cade walks around talking about sectional titles and regionals, and I'm sure. Do you guys feel any amount of pressure to not just match, but to beat some of these records, some of these levels that they've already knocked down?
I would say there is some pressure. We got a brother had a couple records. He's on varsity freshman year, and I would say it's a long legacy, and he's got to end it.
Yeah, I would say I'm excited to try and tackle those achievements and beat them.
No pressure. I mean, Kate started as a freshman. Cam didn't start as a freshman, so.
I would say I have the same plan.
So yeah, find John in the weight room, right? I'm sure John will keep lifting and get you right. So, with that, to go back, Cam, you can remind, I think it's not too soon, Kate, so we're going to get a second here, but you won a regional, right? You won a regional. Kate was a coach. The regional team, right? We kind of reminded that you were the reason, right? You were the difference and kind of helped. We had 2 guys out there, and you were the reason, right? Because we got. I'm sure you let them know that, right?
Yeah, I've told him a couple times. It's like I said, it's kind of hurt not being able to play with him, but see him on the sideline after the game, it's like, you didn't help anything here. You're standing there.
I'm sure that was. I could see that conversation, but no, it's kind of one of those, like, I think now, I feel for Kate, I really do, and we all do, you do as well, and I kind of love you. It's always one of those, as you go down the history, you can kind of just poke the bear a little bit and be like, we won regional when I was a freshman, we didn't have to have Kate, we would have to, ride on his coattails, right, in that case, for your case, I always have to look up to it. No,
Coach, I wanted to get Camden's viewpoint. I was joking with Cade earlier. It seems like I've had a pod with him every week for like the past month and a half, right? And most recently, Cade shared a story.
We don't have to get into this.
Hold on. Cade shared a story about putting you on a poster. Now, in his words, he said he did this in a very emphatic manner, so much so that you didn't have anything to say afterwards. The question is, first of all, I'm going to give you the floor so you can tell your side of the story, because I know we fouled you. I mean, come on, let's be real. But more importantly, when we look into the future, In what year will you be able to pay him back? But first, from your viewpoint.
Well, the thing that he never tells anybody
Okay.
is that the possession down, right before he dunked on me, I blocked him off of the backboard, and he got a little angry. I went down, standing up the rim, and he was dunking the ball. So, yeah, that's not very friendly of him.
So to make sure I got this right, you clean blocked his shot.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore,
Absolutely.
he felt he had to dunk on you.
Yeah, he doesn't tell anybody about that, though.
He did leave that out of the story. As I
What
recall.
was it, Nick?
Yeah.
Oh, got a finger on it.
Now-
We do have video evidence. It definitely did look like a block, and it definitely looked like a dunk on your head. So it was. I think it was definitely the dunk definitely did happen.
Right.
The block, it definitely looked like a block. I mean, the question though, Cam, is, you know, when we get off the court, if you and Cade were to lock up, like is it even a match? Okay, it'd be a bad day. So I had a feeling. I mean, have you ever, as it came to the point where you guys are, I mean, him and John talked about they've got some weird, wild stories of, you know, the boxing. The question is, like, what do you have with Cade? Is he now starting to kind of peel back those competitions?
The only time I can really remember is we were up on our landing upstairs, and we were wrestling. And my dad got pretty mad. He told us to go out to the yard to wrestle. So, I mean, other than that, like, we got along pretty
They didn't
well.
want the wrestling.
It was pretty close. But I think I got it, for sure.
Depends
That
on
was
who's
back
playing.
in my little days.
Oh, those are your little days. So if it was close then, the question, it's
game over now. He's used to all that open field stuff.
Yeah.
We got locked up there deep.
So 2026, that's the upcoming athletic year. In what year will you be able to return the favor? When will you dunk on Cade Kaiser?
I don't know if we'll ever see that day, but I mean, we might see the day where I get a couple of dunks.
Okay.
But not over Cade, I don't think. He can jump.
Nolan and Clay, you guys both play basketball. So the question's going to come down to, if you guys get to be freshmen, so you're going to have a couple years with Cam, are you going to dunk? You're going to dunk on Cam.
Oh, yeah.
Not a chance.
No?
Yes, I think I would be able to.
Okay, so we got that on record, that both of you will dunk on Cam, and that'll just going to become a family tradition of dunking on Cam. So, with Cam, we all know, it all comes down to it, we get a little tussle. You're the dude that, you're the bodyguard, you know, and you don't protect, right?
They'll see what happens. They're not getting a dunk on me.
Good deal.
Coach, normally at this time I'd have you get these guys all tossed up in an ultimatum. You got something lined up for them today?
Cam, I always ask, so like, who's the better golfer between you and Cade?
Oh, it's Cade by far. Like, I'm not even gonna try to fight that one.
So Cade by far.
Yeah.
So if you guys are so if you're gonna need to get Clayton Nolan as a partner, who you going with? You know, you guys are gonna golf. Who you taking and how you win?
Are we playing against Cade still?
Or do we need to? Who do you need to have in the family as your partner, and who does he get as his partner to make this equal?
Probably either my dad or my dad's brother on my team. I would probably give him John. I've seen John's golfing skills, and I mean, they're not great.
So you got a chance that if you get dad and he gets John.
If he gets,
Is he really that good?
He's all right. He's good. He's good.
There's like not a sport he's that good at. So
Our family competitiveness is crazy. Everybody always wants to win.
what's the go-to? I mean, is it everything? Like, I mean, is there a go-to game or games? I mean, doesn't have to be football.
I'd say my big game is cards. I love playing cards. I'm pretty good at playing cards too. So.
I would say football always gets too physical, so my dad cuts that out. We might get a game of 21 going in basketball. I would say Cade always wins that. It's decided on who's feeling good between me and him.
So what's the go-to card game? Euchre. Every weekend, who's the best at euchre in the family?
Oh,
I'm getting a little bit of like they're rolling their eyes. So is this finally the one thing you got paid on?
And football. I take it.
Okay. Well, you're not even giving Kate a chance to rebuttal here, but
Yeah, he's sitting on the sidelines.
Well, guys, we want to thank you. In fact, we want to thank your entire family for coming out today and being a part of this taping. Again, by all means, please be sure to tip your waitresses. And as always, until next time, go Dogs.
This has been an Overtime Media original production presented by Bronze Gutzwiller and FCN Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender. We are profoundly grateful for the support of all of our sponsors, including Daisy's Doggy Daycare and H&R Block. Your continued support is key to our success. So until next time, be sure to like, rate, and subscribe. And as always, be a friend and tell a friend about Overtime